Assalamu alaikum students, hope you are doing good. So another question, that is question number 7 of the same exercise, exercise 2A of your book D1. Okay, in this question you have to compare the two numbers that are given to you in each of the part. I have 4 parts of this question and I need to fill the boxes that are given with greater than and less than sign. We have already done this kind of question in the same exercise 2A, the question number 3. We have compared the two numbers and we have written these two symbols like greater than and less than symbols whenever it was required, right? So we have to do the same thing in this question. We have to compare the two numbers and after comparing, we need to write the two symbols like this. If we have to write this symbol, this is called greater than. Greater than means you have to write this symbol when you find that the first value, let's suppose it's a number and it's a number. If the first number is greater or bigger than the second one, then you have to write the greater than symbol, that this one is bigger. And you have to write the less than symbol, this one is for less than, right? You have to use this symbol when you feel that the first number is small, it's a smaller number than this one. So you will say that this first number is less than this. So these are the two symbols that you have to use in this question. Let's see that how you can do this. Okay, starting from part 1. Okay, part 1, I have -4 and -6. When we have negative numbers, so keep in mind that the most negative number is considered the smallest. In -4 and -6, the bigger negative number, the most negative one is -6. Why? Because it has a more value. It has a more value, but the value is negative, so it will be considered more negative. So if you have two negative values, then the more negative number, the number with bigger value, is considered more negative number is smallest. It is considered smaller. So if I talk about -4 and -6, so -6 is the smallest, more negative means the smallest number in between them. So it means, in other words, -4 is the bigger number. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to use the greater than symbol. Why? Because -4 is greater than -6. Or I can say that if I talk about number line, then we know that in a number line, the numbers are arranged in ascending order, right? The numbers are arranged in ascending order. So if we go back from 0, we have numbers like this: -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So you can easily see that -4 is plotted after -6. So it means it's bigger than -6. Why? Because we know that the numbers are in ascending order in a number line. Ascending order means that the greater number is going to be next. So since the -4 is bigger than -6, so it is next to -6. So that's why we can say that -4 is bigger, it's greater than -6. So I have used a greater than symbol over here. Okay, so now moving towards -5. So sorry, part B is over here. We have to see -11 and -11.5. Again, we have two negative values. So we need to find out that what is the most negative one. The value with the most negative, or that is more negative, in between the two are the values that have the higher value. If I talk about 11 and 11.5, then 11.5 is higher value than 11. But since it is with minus, so it means it is more negative than -11. More negative means small. -11.5 is going to be small than -11. Why? Because it is more negative. It's not a positive value, it's a negative value. So since it is more negative than -11, so it's a smaller value. It will be considered smaller than -11. Or in other hand, or in other way, I can say that -11 is greater than -11.5, right? So if I talk about the number line, let's see these two numbers in a number line. So let's suppose this is my number line and this is -8, -9, -10 and -11. So in a number line, minus 11.5 is going to be before minus 11. Like if this is minus 12, then minus 11.5 is going to be in between minus 12 and minus 11. So it means it is going to be the smallest value. Minus 11.5 is coming before minus 11. So this value is smaller than minus 11. So I can say that minus 11 is greater. I have to use greater than symbol over here. It's a greater value than minus 11.5, right? So this is how you are going to see the numbers that are negative. If both the numbers are negative, then you will see that what is the more negative one. The number with the higher value with a negative sign is the more negative number. So it means the more negative number is the smallest one, right? So the other one will be largest. Okay, so let's see part C now. Part C is a fraction. Okay, if you have fractions, then it is better to convert these fractions into decimal values so that it will be easy for you to compare them. So if I talk about 1 upon 5, let's divide 5, 1. 1 divided by 5 means you have to divide 1 by 5. So let's add a 0 over here. Why? Because 1 cannot be divided by 5. So you need to put a decimal over here. What I'm actually doing, I'm finding out the decimal value of these two fractions. So in order to find out the decimal value, I have to divide 1 by 5. So 1 is divided by 5. I need to add a 0. Why? Because 1 cannot be divided. So this 0 means I have to add a decimal value over here. Then 5 twos are 10. So this is divided. 1 upon 5 means 0.2. Now what about 1 upon 3? Let's divide 1 upon 3. This is 3 and this is 1. Again, you have to add a 0 over here, and for this 0 you need to add decimal point. Now 3 threes are 9. You have 1, then you have to add a 0, then 3 threes are 9, and this is going to be recurrent. You cannot stop this division. Why? Because you are going to have 1 and 1 1 and so on. So it means this is 0.33333 and so on. So we can easily compare these two values. The one is 1 upon 5 means 0.2 and 1 upon 3 means 0.333. So it's very clear that in these two values, 0.3 is going to be the bigger one, right? Since both the values are positive, now you have positive signs. So you just need to see the value itself. The value that is bigger is considered greater since both the numbers are positive. It is just like that 2 is less than 3. Similarly, 0.2 is less than 0.3, right? So you have to write less than symbol over here. Why? Because we know that 0.2 is less than 0.333 and so on. Okay, I hope this explanation is clear to you. Now let's compare the fourth part. The fourth part, both the numbers are negative. I have minus 1 upon 3 and I have minus 5 upon 6. So first of all, let's find out its decimal value in order to compare these. So let's find out about 1 upon 3. 1 upon 3, we have already done it. It was 0.333, but this time it is going to be negative. Why? Because we have a negative fraction. So it will be minus 0.333 and so on. What about minus 5 upon 6? Let's do this. Divide 5 by 6. You have to add a 0 over here. Why? Because 5 cannot be divided by 6 directly. So for this, you have to add decimal point, then 6 8s are 48. If I'm not wrong, 6 8s are 48. Then you have 2 that is remaining. You have to add a 0 over here. Then 6 3s are 18. You have to, the remainder is 2. Again, another 0. Then 6 3s are 18. And this is going to be recurring. It is going to be repeating. So the approximate value of 1 upon 3 minus with a negative sign is, let's write over here, sorry for this, minus 1 upon 3 is going to have a value minus 0.3333 and so on, and minus 5 upon 6 is going to have a value minus 0.8333. So don't look at the 0 because both have 0 before point, before the decimal, both have 0. Just look at the value after 0 and compare both. If I have 3333 and so on, and if I have 8333, so this is going to be the most negative value, more negative than this. Why? Because this value is greater. This value is greater, and since it has a negative sign, so it means this is more negative. More negative means a smaller value, right? When you talk about both negative values, you have two negative values, let's suppose -2 and -3. You are going to see that what is more negative. -3 is more negative. More negative means it is going to be small because of this negative sign. So in this case, -0.3333 and -0.83333. The big value is this. This is the more negative value due to this minus sign, so it means it is the smallest one. So if I compare both, since this is smaller, so this is going to be big. -0.33 is going to be a big value, so I have to write greater than symbol over here. -1/3, this is going to be greater value. Less negative means it's greater than the previous one or the one you have to compare with. Okay, so this is how you need to do this question. I hope this question is clear to you. Let me remove these unnecessary information so that it looks clearer. Okay, so this is how we have done this question number 7. So we have written -4 is greater than -6, -11 is greater than -11.5, 1/5 is less than 1/3, and -1/3 is greater than -5/6. Right? So this is how you need to do question number 7. Thank you so much for watching it. See you in the next video with question number 8. Take care. Allah Hafiz.